Hi, how are you? It's been a little while, hasn't it? So today's video is a bit different because I've just been thinking a lot about so much stuff, and I was like, I want to get 1 second because this is going to really annoy me. I want to get my thoughts out of my head and onto camera because a lot of my videos that I do here are always with you in mind. I want to show you everyday life in Italy. I want to take you around and help you to explore this beautiful country. That's right, it is a beautiful country, problematic yet beautiful. But sometimes I am just lost in my thoughts and I want to get a bit deep and meaningful, and I want to talk about what is on my mind, how it is being affected by what is happening around me here in Italy, and just kind of share some general life thoughts. And that's what I'm going to do today because I saw this post here on Learn Amor over on Instagram, which, by the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you can do so right here at Ms Britaly. I post pretty much daily insights into life in South Italy. So if you want more content above and beyond what you have on this beautiful channel, that would be where I suggest you go. And of course, if you're not yet subscribed on this wonderful channel, hit the subscribe button, please. Thank you. But essentially, I wanted to talk about why we take things so personally. It's really, really difficult sometimes, I have to be honest, being a British person living in Italy. Why? Because I definitely feel like I have a different outlook on life. I definitely feel like I can be very precise, and life in South Italy isn't always precise. And sometimes I feel like I have an opinion, but I'm not really allowed to express it. And I feel a lot like this post on Learn Amor because it often feels like only Italians can criticize their country. If you come from another country, you do not have the ability or validity to criticize it. And it got me thinking a bit when I saw this post, because every time I publish a video here on YouTube, I'm always very conscious of what I'm talking about. I try to be as vanilla as possible. I don't want to cause offense. I want to show you the reality of life here, but at the same time not take away from the beauty of life here, because I do believe there are two aspects to everyday life in South Italy. You definitely have the negative aspects, but of course you have the incredible, beautiful aspects that have kept me living here for 5 years, right? I always believe the actions speak louder than words, okay? But that said, I do find that when I even remotely talk about anything negative to do with life in South Italy, there is usually 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, I don't know. I tend not to really take it personally anymore. Keyboard warriors who want to tell me that life in my country is not perfect and I should probably go back home. However, I will say that I will openly tell you life in London is not a bag of roses. I don't even think this is the expression. It's not a bed of roses. That is the expression. Bag? No. Bed? Yes. It is not a bed of roses. And essentially, like, I was thinking, if people from outside of my country in the UK have an opinion about London, how do I want to react? 9 times out of 10, I'm in agreement with them. Yes, London is ridiculously expensive. Yes, the weather is absolutely atrocious. Like, I'm in agreement. We do have a problem with immigration. We do have many complicated aspects to life in the UK. It is far from perfect as perfect can be. And this is what I'm trying to say. I generally do not take offense when people say something negative about my country. I have acceptance. I realize that no country in the world is perfect. But it's really interesting how here in Italy, it's the reverse. If anybody else has an opinion about life in Italy, you are criticized, judged, frowned upon, or told to go back home. One of the 4. It's interesting, really, really interesting. And I think as well, though, what we fail to do in those moments when other people want to share their opinion or experience about life in your country is we fail to take the lessons from it or the learnings, or open our eyes a little bit more to understand where that person is coming from. Now, I say this, of course, if the other person is being respectful. There are often times when people blatantly cross the line and they say something where, it's going to offend people, disrespect people. Okay, those are not the aspects I'm talking about. I'm talking about when somebody has a different perspective on life, or they see an improvement that could be made, or maybe an action that people have spoken about for years, but nobody has ever taken any steps towards improving. Those are the times when I feel like we can learn something from other people's perspective of our country, like through a fresh set of eyes. I follow people on Instagram who are not from the UK, but have chosen to make the UK their home. And I enjoy seeing London through their eyes, because sometimes I even learn something about my city that I didn't know about before. So I never feel like we can know too much. We can always learn something. And often it comes through the experiences of others that we are able to do just that, which is why I think it's really important that we don't feel like we cannot express our opinion, because the reality is, deep down, Italian people probably agree with what you have to say, depending on what it is about. Because if an Italian talks to a fellow Italian about bureaucracy, or about the benefit system, or about the government, chances are there's going to be a negative expression thrown in there somewhere. So deep down, there's probably a sense of agreement, but nobody likes to hear somebody else tell you what's wrong with your country, where you were brought up and where you had hardship and where your family sacrificed so much so many years ago. Nobody likes to hear this, do they? Like, let's be honest. We feel like only people from our country really understand what our country is about. I get it. I do think there is an element of truth to this. You cannot expect to know all the intricacies and all the details of another country when you choose to move there later in life. You can research and read as many books as possible, or look on as many websites as possible, but it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to fully understand the heart and soul of a country in the same way that somebody who has lived there all their life really does. And that's where you have to have this delicate balance. But it is also where people, I feel, need to relax a little bit and let people have a respectful opinion and see what learnings can be taken from it. And I think this is what has really been going through my mind a lot this week. Having this YouTube channel, I feel that sometimes maybe I should just share the Barbie doll version of Italy and only talk about the good points. But I'm not doing you a service in doing that, because you're going to come to this country, whether it be on holiday or to move here, expecting something that you may not receive, at least not straight away. And what's that going to do? It's going to lead to resentment, criticism, judgment, all the things that people often have to say about other countries when they haven't really understood what life is like there. And that's why I want to continue to share the reality of life. That's why I do what I do, because I think it's really important to understand real life and not just some highly edited, curated version that you can pretty much find on any YouTube channel. So yes, this is the first thing I wanted to talk about. And the second is that, oh my goodness, I am feeling so creatively inspired. So I spent August kind of on a bit of a vacation, a bit of a holiday. I had a couple of weeks where I was just not working, and I just spent it at the beach mainly. If you followed me on Instagram, you would have seen my stories. Then last week I celebrated my milestone 40th birthday, which was amazing because I spent it traveling to Ragusa, Marina di Ragusa and Modica, 3 exceptional places in Sicily that I highly recommend you visit if you haven't already. And I filmed some vlogs whilst I was there, which I'm kind of in the process of editing. It's a bit of a mammoth job. I may have them up next week on my channel. It might be the week after, I'm not sure yet, but they will definitely be in 2 parts because I have a lot of incredible footage to share with you. But essentially, what that trip did for me was it breathed creative life back into me. I was feeling pretty depleted and pretty negative about life here in Palermo up until that point, because one big takeaway for me from the whole experience of going away, which I'll talk about more in the vlogs, is that your environment really influences how you feel. And I was finding myself in an environment in Palermo, real Palermo, not the tourist aspects, where I was walking past waist-high weeds, or I was seeing piles of rubbish on the floor and people just having no respect for where they live. And when you see that on a day-to-day basis, it's hard, especially if you're a very sensitive person, not to be affected by that. And I think that kind of started to chip away at my creativity, and I started to just feel a bit doom and gloom. But having visited these really beautiful parts of Sicily, it's kind of fired me up again, because Palermo is an incredible city, and it could be as incredibly beautiful as Monica or Ragusa if people really appreciated just what they have, which I feel is a whole other topic. Do we ever really appreciate what we have? Not always. Not until we don't have it anymore or it's completely destroyed. But yes, travel is incredible for you, like to visit new places, to see different parts of a country can do wonders for you. And I definitely have come back a lot more inspired and a lot more focused and feeling really good. And also realizing that I may not be able to control certain external aspects of my environment, but I can control my inner environment, how I feel inside me, and also what's around my immediate surroundings. So yes, lots to come in the coming weeks, but I kind of like these deep and meaningful chit chats. Maybe I'll make this a weekly series as well. Let me know below if you'd like me to do more of these kind of chit chat videos where I talk about just what's on my mind. But yeah, anyway, have a good week. Ciao, see you next time.